A recent study shows that 4 million Texans struggle with hunger and food insecurity. Tonight, Pete Sousa introduces us to a Central Texas man on a mission to wipe out hunger. It's a spiritual journey that can only be led with a shepherd's heart.
We used to say that we could feed a family for $5. It's not that easy anymore.
As the prices for groceries continue to rise, studies show that 1 in 8 Texans suffer from food insecurity. People experiencing hard times and hunger need sustenance and strength. And for more than 15 years, Bob Gager and his team at Shepherd's Heart Food Pantry in Waco have provided both.
We're running about 6,000 to 7,000 families a month. This thing's full.
Bob's battle against hunger is making a huge difference today, but it started long before Shepherd's Heart.
I grew up in poverty, I didn't tell you that part, in Chicago. So I know something about where they're coming from. He said, your past is why you're ready for this. I was prepared because of my past. And so it wasn't complicated to me. I just said, yes.
The he Bob just referred to? God Almighty. The past personal experience he touched on? Dark. All at the hands of an abusive stepfather.
He'd go off, and so I was his punching bag. And I didn't have any, I became a very quiet person. I didn't want to ruffle any feathers and stuff like that. I learned to not have breakfast. In schools, we didn't have lunch at that time, no lunchroom, so I went all day long without something to eat. If I got home and I said something or did something that irritated him, I'd have to go to bed without supper. I did that a lot.
Then what he did was critical. Leaving home at 16 years old, Bob became a self-described couch surfer, but managed to stay in high school, earning his degree and eventually entering the Army. After the Army, Bob earned a business degree, tapping into what he says are his God-given skills.
For 25 years, I took companies that were screwed up and turned them around.
But then the opportunity to make a difference in the world, particularly his new home in Central Texas, presented itself and became undeniable.
The church that I went to at that time had a pantry, and it was called Shepherd's Heart. And the church was going to move, and when they moved, they didn't have room for the pantry. So they shut it down. And what happened is everybody started showing up at my house on Friday night saying, Bob, what are we going to do about this?
Bob says God told him to step in. So he combined several church pantries to open a bigger, brighter Shepherd's Heart. But there was a small issue. He did it on his own dime.
About a year into it, I was looking at, this thing started out of my bank account, okay? And I started thinking about how long is that going to last?
Enter the resale shop. Things from the Heart, located on Bosque Boulevard in Waco, supplies families with clothing and household items, all free of charge. And whatever is left, Shepherd's Heart sells to support itself.
We've got almost 10,000 square feet. That store, the sales of that store has grown to where it pays for all of our salaries. We've got a staff of 19 people between here and the store. We've created 19 jobs, and that store pays for all of it.
With that support, Shepherd's Heart can go deep into God's work, free of that crippling financial stress.
During the normal school year, we have kids that are in the high schools. We've got hundreds of children that are homeless, and they're couch surfers. Some of them have babies, okay? So we provide them food that they can snack on during the school day, plus we provide them meal food to take home.
Get this delicious green vegetables. We've got
Allison Sorley is the pantry's executive director, and she's also living with breast cancer. She illustrates how this kind of work not only grants others assistance, but gives her perspective.
I have stage 4 metastatic. I've had it since August of 2019, and I was told I'll be on treatment for life, and there are days that truly just, excuse my language, suck. But then I go to, the mobile distributions, or I'm on the phone, finding resources and getting money, and I learned that people haven't had something to eat for that day, or they're getting sicker by the day because they haven't had the proper nutrition.
The pantry may not be curing food insecurity in Central Texas, but it's taking a huge bite out of it.
We're on pace this year to do about 120,000 people.
Not only do they help scores of people, but Shepherd's Heart seemingly attacks hunger from everywhere. They have 17 mobile distributions. They serve over 2,000 homebound seniors groceries twice a month. The pantries and the medical clinics actually study the benefits of food with the possibility of being able to get people off of medicine by giving them the proper nutrients. There's also a food pantry in Belmead, and the list goes on. But how do they do it?
This is all funding from this community. So when we get money from the community, we put it right back into the community.
Right about now, you might be asking yourself, can I really make a difference? Here you go.
And we've got some people that have big pockets, but most of our donors do not. They're just the average person.
A not-so-average man, powered by a mission from God, no longer fighting an abusive stepfather, but battling for people who so badly need his help. Pete Souza, News 10.